Happy Friday! You hear a lot of noise. There are roofers in the neighborhood, and it's kind of a lot of pounding. So, can you outgive God? No. We cannot outgive God. I'm Cassie with Dream Big Today. It's Friday, August 1st, 2025. And today, what really got me was how there was so much left over after Hezekiah reinstated the tithing. And it seems as though the people were really excited to have the Passover. It had been a long time since they had been in celebration of the Exodus out of Egypt. And people were very excited to give what they could to reinstate the priests and the Levites to do their job. And I thought that was really interesting when I read it. There was a lot of different parts in this. 2 Chronicles 30 talks about, "For if you return to the Lord, your relatives and your children will be treated mercifully by their captors, and they will be able to return to this land. For the Lord your God is gracious and merciful. If you return to him, he will not continue to turn his face from you." Part of that is a heart posture in giving. And in 12 of the 30th chapter in 2 Chronicles, it said, "At the same time, God's hand was on the people in the land of Judah, giving them one heart to obey the orders of the king and the officials." And I thought that was really interesting because there's also a spot in the New Testament that brought me to Philippians 2, verse 2, and it talks about one heart there too. God gives us strength. As a body of Christ, we could be totally separated. But when you have the heart of God, when you know who God is and you know what he requires, it's not exhausting to give to God. It's all his anyway. And so when the people started to, it's in 5, when the people of Israel heard these requirements, they responded generously by bringing the first share of their grain, new wine, olive oil, honey, and all the produce of their fields. They brought a large quantity, a tithe of all they produced, and they were cheerful in doing it. You know, God doesn't need our money. He doesn't need our $2. He doesn't need our $200. God can do anything. He wants our hearts to be obedient in that. He wants our hearts to be cheerful in giving. 2 Corinthians 9:7, where Paul talks about, "Everyone must make up his own mind as to how much he should give. Don't force anyone to give more than he really wants to, for cheerful givers are the ones God prizes." That is out of my Life Application Bible. I like the wording of that. And there was a teaching I heard about this too, where it said the early church was really generous, as the modern church should be. When people are excited to give, they're not exhausted. They're not worried about, are they going to have enough to make their bills? But it's not just money. Also, it's time. Your time, your talents, your giftings, your encouragement, sharing that cheerful heart. When you walk into a room or when you meet somebody at the grocery store that you haven't seen for a long time, do they turn around? Do you turn around? No, I don't want to see them. It really depends on, are they an uplifter or are they a squasher? If people are positive and uplifting and give you encouragement and you know they love you, it is a joy to see them, right? But when people just cannot take your encouragement, and there's always something negative, and they can't see the brighter side of the situation, or they don't have hope in the Lord, and you try and try to give them hope in the Lord, and there's always something. Those people are really hard to be around. We still try, but it's exhausting. When you have somebody that is an encouragement, it encourages you. And when you talk about healing and having enough and living in abundance and seeing the joy of the Lord in all of the situations that you're in any trial, in all the struggles, in your kids' trials and struggles, in your parents' trials and struggles, your heart lifts their heart. A cheerful giver. And that is not just monetary. That hit me today. Be of one heart. No matter the inconvenience or the unbelief that you can do something, everyone can do something. And imagine that. If every one of us who loved the Lord did all we could with all He gave us, would there be a need? Would the world need? So that was my thought today. Great reading. Second Chronicles 30 and 31. And then we had Romans 15, 1 through 22. Psalms 25. And then Proverbs 20, 13 through 15, where it talks about it's worthless. Where you're haggling over something. You're haggling over a price and it says it's worthless. Then brags about getting a bargain. Ugh. Which reminds me, don't tell people what you give. Don't brag about the time it takes to organize communion or clean up after church service or be a part of the function the neighborhood is having or the moving or cleaning up somebody needs to do that needs help with. Go serve cheerfully. It encourages you. It sparks another. And God blesses you for that. So go be a blessing this weekend. You are incredibly loved and you are never alone. And put your prayer requests and your praises in the comments because we are a community that loves to pray with you and praise with you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.